Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Flosstube. My name is Matt, and this is Starflight Creations, where I talk about my cross-stitching progress for the last couple of weeks. So, it has been 3 weeks since my last Flosstube. I was going to record it last week, but I didn't have a whole lot to show, and there was only one more week, and then the month was going to be over, so I just figured I'd go ahead and do another 3-week rotation, and then try and get back onto the 2-week rotations. So, since the last Flosstube, which was on February 7th, I have done 3,307 stitches, which is pretty good for me. That's about 1,000 stitches a week. And I have made some pretty good progress. So first up, I will talk about my whips, which are whips in progress. So first of all, I have my 2026 book tracker. This is off of the 2024 book tracker by the Stuart Crazy Crafter. I'm doing this on 14 count Ada, just a basic 14 count Ada, and so here's where it's up to. So I did finish up the base of this since the last time you saw it. Then I came up here and was adding in the books. I was just putting them in the order of the books I read. And then each color is a different genre. But as you can see here, these two are actually the first and the second book there. And there just wasn't a whole lot of separation. The gold trim that I'm using around the edge of the books just didn't really separate it as much as I was wanting. So I decided that I will not necessarily record them as books that I read them, but they're just books of the year, and I will input them between with other books of different genres, just that way it's more easily recognizable. But also, this is a book tracker for 365 books, which normally I get around that, but I just haven't been reading as much this year because I've been heavily into cross-stitching at the moment. So, I may not get there. So I am thinking about adding in other little things to just kind of reflect the month. So in January, I did have my birthday, and so we did the birthday style, me and Spicy Selena Crafts. We did the Stitch a Dragon since our birthdays are the same day. So I was thinking about maybe trying to get a small little dragon and stitch that in there. And just other ones various throughout the bookcase to help fill it out if I don't end up picking up speed on my reading. So I did put in 198 stitches on that, bringing that up to 1,348. So I have finished 1 or 2 books since then that I need to add in to my tracker catalog and then onto this. But that is basically up to date. I at least have the bookshelves and everything caught up to date. So that was my first one that I knocked out, so I won't be doing that as often anymore. The second one that I had was my piece for the stitching connection. That is this piece here. It is Patchwork de la Plague by Jardin privae, and here's what it will look like when it's finished. So we are doing this one round robin style. So there's a group of 4 of us, and this is my groupmate Joan's project, and she divided it into 4. And so then each person stitches a quarter of the section. And so the last time you saw it, it looked like this. I added 562 stitches and some back stitching. And I am proud to say I got all of my section done. So, I finished up the little fishes and the light post. So I am really excited because this is now all ready to send off. I am still waiting to hear from a couple of the others. Joan has my project, which was a dragon. If you go back and look at my Flosstube videos from January, you'll see me finish that up and send it off. January or December. We finished that up and sent that. No, maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe it was in November. I don't even remember anymore. But we finished that up and sent it off, and so mine was a whole piece of the dragon, which was 5,000 stitches. So mine was the biggest of the 4 of ours. And so Joan's been working on that, and she's getting close to being done with mine. Joan's was the smallest of the 4 of ours, and so I'm glad to just know that I'm done with it. So now as soon as I get contacted by the other group members and told that they're ready to switch, I don't have to worry about jumping on it, because I think all total I worked on this 4 days, so not very much. I just kind of kept putting it off because I knew it wasn't a whole lot of stitches and I didn't really have to worry about it. And so finally I was like, well, it's at the end of the 3 months, we should be switching it off. I just want to knock it out. And so I did most of the stitching in one night. So that was a really nice accomplishment to get that off my plate. And then, before I go and talk any more whips, I am going to stop. One of the other members of the Stitching Connection is a member of UpliftStitches, and Michael from UpliftStitches is doing a RPG character creator challenge where you kind of collect your stitches for the month, and then you add it into this Google Sheets doc that he's got, and it gives you a certain amount of points that you've done, and then that ends up telling you what your character is going to be. The January's was your race, and so I was an elf. So for February, and I really hope I'm doing this. I've tried a couple of times to rewatch this video, but as far as I'm aware, you can utilize your stitches for a couple of categories as long as they match both categories. So his categories are Sal stitches, challenge stitches, in-season stitches, out-of-season stitches, stitches into your oldest whip, and then if you got to finish, it gives you points. If you have a new start, it will subtract points. If you have something that's a barely start, it will subtract points. So I only had one project that was a barely start, as in less than 300 stitches. I had 2 new starts, and so that, with those 2 categories together, that dropped me 55 points. I did have one finish that brought me up 20 points, and then the points I had for my stitches, which as far as I'm aware, those ones could be applied to multiple categories as long as they match the category. So some of the ones that I put in for Sal also went in for in season. So I'm hoping I'm doing that right. If not, hopefully Michael will call me out and send me a message and let me know, so that way I can adjust it. But as far as I'm aware, I got 120 points, so I put that into his calculator, and so it gave me an artificer for my class. So now, as of February, I'm an elven artificer, and so as we go through the rest of the year, you'll keep adding in your stitches, and it will keep giving you different things, and so at the end of it, you'll have a fully fleshed out character to use in a D&D campaign. So I just wanted to briefly share about that before I jump into the next one. So the next one is also someone who's taking part in Stitching Connection, but he does have his own Flosstube. That is Andrew the Runner Stitcher. He did a challenge last year where he was training for the Sydney Marathon and then the New York City Marathon when he wasn't able to go to the Sydney Marathon. And so he challenged people to put in, I think it was 10 stitches for each mile he ran, or 20 stitches for each mile he ran. And so he'd do his runs and throw it into a spreadsheet, and it would track however many stitches you were up to at that point. And so the challenge was to keep up with your stitching, and so he gave it to a really good thing. A lot of people used it to get stitches into a neglected project, or just a project that really needed some stitches. Right now he doesn't have a marathon that he is directly training for. He is still on a half marathon training rotation, but he's doing a walking whip into shape, where he's going out on long walks and he's uploading them to his second channel, so that way people can do like walking videos, but he is also giving stitch challenges for how long he walked, the miles that he walked. So it's a little bit lower than when he was running, but it still is something to do. And so the project that I chose for this was this nostalgic tarot frame and cards by the Witchy Stitcher. I am going to the Children of the Thread retreat in April, where she is the main designer, and a bunch of people who have already fully stitched the whole frame with all of the cards are going to be there to show off their progress. So I'm trying to get as much progress into that as I can before I go, just to try and get it to look as good as it can before I get there. So I chose this one for that. I know as of the beginning of the week I was ahead. I think I am still caught up. I still need to go in and double check that. I may be slightly behind now, but I think I'm still slightly ahead. So I'll have verified that for the next time, and I'll be caught up if I'm behind. But I did put... let me show it. So this is what the full frame with all of the cards will look like. I am doing this on a 16 count Ada that I dyed myself and then hand painted with golden fabric paint to look like stars. And so the last time you saw it, it looked like this. And so what I've been doing is grabbing a color that I need for up here in the top, and then once I've got that color put in there, I will take it down into either the border of the frame or some of the objects inside the frame, and finish out the thread that way, and then go up and choose a new one. So I've been moving the top border. I moved the stitched up from the bottom of that T for the tarot all the way to the top, and then I've been going back and adding the things around the edge of the rainbow, as well as putting in most of that rainbow there. I think last time I just had a pink arch, and now I've got the other colors added in there. I still have I think one more color to add there. But I've been having fun with that. I know Joshua from Cross Stitch in Cambria, who was the one who inspired me to pick up this pattern, has when he posted his glam photos on Facebook and Instagram, he has commented several times that he never wants to stitch that frame again. I myself might feel that way once I get, all of the frames in there, but at the moment I'm having fun with it. But then again, I am doing a little bit of it and then doing the border, and then doing a little bit of it and then doing the border. So I did put in 312 stitches on this. So that brings me up to 1,708 stitches of 14,685, which puts me at 11.6%. That is off. I do know that is basically just the dimensions of the frame. I swear at one point the Witchy Stitcher had put out what the frame and all the cards stitch count was, but I've gone back through Facebook and her Instagram and I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know if I made that up or if I'm just not finding that. But what I really need to do is just go into, because I put the Fool, which is the first card, into Pattern Keeper. So what I need to do is go in there and mark off the outside of the frame, and that will tell me how many stitches are in the inside of that, and then I can add that to the whole frame for Nostalgic Tarot, and then I can just keep doing that, and then each time I go to add a new card, I can just mark off the frame, get the new stitch count, and then add that to the frame, and then I'll have a accurate thing going forward. And so then that led me to WhipGo. WhipGo is a game put on by Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on Flosstube, where she sets up a bingo board of 1 through 25, with 13 being a free space, and then each month she calls 2 numbers, and then people will assign projects to the numbers and give out a certain amount of stitches that they want to do, and everybody kind of takes it and makes it their own. I already had my game Darkthorn Keep to kind of put stitches into things and tell me where to go, so I decided that rather than doing that, to kind of get rid of the large amount of stash I just had accumulated that I wanted to at least get started on, I decided to do WhipGo with new starts. So for January, I had drawn Penance and Day and Night. And so I did not start either of those two in January. I kept having an issue. Number one, I bought fabric, and then when I went to go to start it, I realized that the fabric was not the right size, and so then I had to order new fabric, and so by the time it all came, it was after January. So I have managed to start one of them, and that is Penance. Here is what Penance will look like when it is finished. Penance is by Long Dog Samplers. So I'm doing mine on a 22 count Ada that I hand dyed, and I am finally a little bit more happy with this. It did come out very, very orange, which was surprising because 95% of the color that I used for this was canary yellow, which the little bit of tangerine that was put in there just turned it orange, which was the first time I've had one of my hand-dyed not turn out something that I just automatically loved. So I ended up I washed it once trying to see if I could get some of the dye to come out, but it just started fraying immediately. So I sent it to one of my friends to get it serged, and then when it was serged, I dyed it again and washed it again, and I'm now really happy with the way it comes out. I don't know if you can tell, but it kind of now has a more of a yellow mottle over most of it, with just like some darker orange tones, which I'm really happy with. So I have put in only 192 stitches on this, which is out of 81,612, which brings it up to 0.24%. That's not quite as far as I wanted to get along with this, but it is, being on 22 count, it is a little harder for me to just get a whole bunch of stitches in, and I am a slow stitcher. So there's been times where I wanted to work on it, but I just knew I was too tired to really focus on something that tiny, so I haven't really got as much as I wanted into it. After I finished Acorns and Ant Friends stitches, I did start bringing this one to work, so now that's how I'm getting more stitches into it, and I am going to push on with this one until I get it to its 500 stitches. So I am doing this one 2 threads on, I guess it'd be 2/1, but it's Eta. But most of the time you do this either like 2-stranded 10-stitch or 1/1 full cross. I probably should have done it 1/1 full cross, but I like doing 2 strands so I can do the loop start. And I like the majority of like the coverage that it gives me. It's just when I start looking into like the little motifs, which I don't know if you can even see it there, but there's a little cross there with a space in the middle that's filled in, and then here is the start of the bunny's ears. And like the bunny you can clearly tell, but the cross is a little bit harder to tell when you have it back. So I don't know if I'm just going to decide that it might, some of the little tiny bits might not be as noticeable. But also I kind of feel like as a whole, like if I throw the pattern back up, there's a lot going on in there. So I still feel like there will be enough things to see from far away, and then there'll just be more things as you get closer. So I'm kind of thinking like I may just keep going with it and just know that it's not as detailed as it would have been if I had done it 1/1, which is where I think I'm gonna just move on and keep doing it because I really don't want to go back and undo stitches. So I guess that's a learning experience, but I'm not, that might just be my preference. So that was my one for January, which I'm still working on. I want to get 500 stitches in, and then once I get 500 stitches in, I will go ahead and put money into my little advent calendar that I made. I can't claim to have come up with this idea. I saw it on Crafty Emily's. She had one last year, and then she did another one this year. This year she's doing long dog. I think she has one where it's a long dog whip go and then a full coverage whip go. And mine's just a new start whip go. So I'm having fun with that. I am looking forward to trying to get some more stitches in to hit my 500 stitch goal. I have just decided as long as I hit the 500 stitches before the end of the year, I can put the money in there. And then at the end of the year, I will take all the money out and either put it towards going to a retreat next year or towards buying more patterns. So once I get Penance finished, I will either pull in the other one from January, Day and Night. So for February, they had 5 and 22 were called. So number 5 was Acorns and Friends by Lola Cross Stitch Studio. If you are interested in any of her patterns, right now currently she is having a sale for the weekend. Everything is 20% off. So this pattern is on there now as a digital download, which I did, like, not now, but previously I did go and get, because I tried to scan this so that way I can make a working copy to put into Pattern Keeper, because I've just discovered that I really don't like stitching from a paper pattern. Like, I can do it, I just am not really interested in it. I'd much rather have the paper pattern, and so I've decided I won't be, or I'd much rather have the PDF pattern, so I really won't be buying any paper patterns going forward, just because I know that eventually most of them will come to PDF online, and I'd rather do it that way. But I did go ahead and buy that one this last month, and so I do have it into Pattern Keeper. I don't have a last as you saw it because you haven't seen it yet. So it says here I put 452 in, so maybe you did see a little bit of it on our last one. I don't remember that. But in any case, I put 452 in, so this is where we are now. So it's now at 565 of 7,529, which is 7.5%. This is on a 20 count country mocha. And so, like I said, this did get its 500 stitches, so it will now be added onto my wheel for Darkthorn Keep. And I currently have it in a bag that I got over Christmas from Crafty Emily, one of her little winter rabbit fabric project bags, which is the first project bag that I've purchased online, so that was fun. And so I didn't get to the other one that was called for April, because that was Jungle Stroll, which is Heaven and Earth Designs chart. I just had so much things on the go that I never jumped in to get started on that. So one thing that I did put some more stitches in, and quite frankly the reason I put more stitches into this is because this one had been constantly sitting right over 7,000 stitches left, and I just wanted to get it under that number. And so I'm talking about Living Room Set number 2 by Alina Latsova. I got it back a couple of years ago when it was on mybobbin.com. It looks like it may have been taken down when J.K. Rowling went around copywriting everybody, and so everybody was taking things down. I don't see this pattern there anymore. A lot of her other programs are still on mybobbin. But at the time, I did go ahead and buy the full 4 different common room sets, and I've been working on this one a while. This one was my first really full coverage piece that I started attempting to work on, and it also was the first time I used black Ada, and so I have learned a lot of things. Number one, don't put things on black Ada for absolutely no reason. But funny enough, going back to this after working on a bunch of really small ones for a long time, made it a lot easier than it had been before. So this is where it looked like the last time that you saw it. And so this is what it looks like now. And so what I ended up doing was I'd be working over here, trying to fill in the large chunks over here, and I'd take a color and work on it. And if I had any open spots here where it was, I'd go ahead and fill them in, and then I'd pick my next color. And so I have any long-time viewers of mine will know that there was 2 random stitches, one right there in the base of this book, and the other one was off over in here, and those had just been sitting there undone because they were ninja stitches and I just hadn't done them. So I got those done. So now I do have 3 pages completed, which is half of the 6 pages total, even though I'm more than halfway done by stitch count. And then I've been, working up in here. I've done a good, half of what was left up in there. So I just have a little bit more that I need to do. The main thing that I've been struggling with here is, at one point I had pulled out of my master set of DMC a couple of, cuts of thread of each of the colors. And now a bunch of those colors have ran out, and I just haven't gone to the master set and pulled out another strand. So I basically need to do that, reset that up, just that way I can move forward on this, and I want to knock out the rest of this corner up in here, just that way I can get that done, and then I can move the whole Q-snap over without having to worry about going back. And then you can see here my little crappy French knots. They were nicer, but at one point I did have this in a hoop frame, and at one point the hoop was over them, and that really crushed them. So really learned my lesson there to not jump ahead and throw in French knot and back stitching before you finish the rest of it. So I don't know if I said, but I did throw in 948 stitches into this, and some of those are 10 stitches or half stitches, but according to Pattern Keeper it's all marked as a stitch, so I didn't keep track of how many were which were half stitches and which were other stitches, but that now brings that to 18,241 of 24,627, so 71.5% complete. And I did get over or under the 7,000. I've almost hit the 6,000 stitches remaining, so I am happy with how fast, number one, I watch the completed percentile creep up and the number of stitches left creep down with it, and it's been a lot easier as I've worked on other projects that are all a lot of block stitching, a lot of really tiny counts to go back to 14 count with a bunch of color changes. It's been a really good break. So I am looking forward to keep moving forward with that, and trying to push that one at least to the point where I can finish that 4th page and move the Q-snap. Alright, so the next one was the one that I finally got around to starting, which was my birthday start for our start along for me and Selena Spicy Crafts birthdays, which were both on January 31st. This one took a while, like I said, just because I didn't have the fabric. And once I had the fabric, I just had a lot going on, what with work and whatnot. At one point, I was interviewing for a different job, but I didn't get that. So there were just some times where I just didn't have the time to put in work to it. This was the one of my new starts that didn't hit the 300 marker, so it did count against me on the character creator. And so this is, first let me show what it looks like. So this is Year of the Dragon by Yasu Art Studio. I did get this back in 2024. I think right at the end of 2024, Heaven and Earth Designs released this as a free pattern, and I got it then. And I just loved the way that it looks. I just got the Year of the Snake companion piece this last Christmas from my mom. So, like I said, this is from Yasu Art Studio, tried by Heaven Earth Designs. I'm doing this on 18 count easy grid fabric. So here is what I've got, which is not much. It is just a giant black line. But it is 122 stitches of the 508,800, which is still only at 0%. But this is one that I do want to put more progress in going forward. I just really haven't had the time and energy to put into it like I wanted. But I do intend to get caught back up on that. Alright, and then that brings me to Darkthorn Keep. So Darkthorn Keep is a game that I created that I based off of a game that Jessie Marie does stuff created called Milestone Manor. So in Milestone Manor, she is exploring her house, and each room in the house she has, when she enters it, she will draw a project, and then she has to roll to see how many stitches she gets for to defeat that project. And she does it where she's trying to hit a milestone in that number of stitches, and if not, then she takes damage. If she does hit a milestone, then she does damage to it. After so much damage, the project is defeated, and she can put a new project in. So her goal, as with Milestone Manor, is she wants milestones. Most of my projects, as anybody who's watched my web parade has seen, are mostly on the newer side of certain things, so I just kind of want something that will help me choose what to work on, but also help putting all of work into all of them, because I am kind of a monogamous stitcher. If I have it right there next to my bed, I will just grab it and keep working on it and keep working on it and keep working on it, and not, share the love with anything else that might be sitting in a drawer. So I called mine Darkthorn Keep because I wanted to keep working on them. And so I decided that rather than exploring a house, because I have a really small house, I decided that I would take the D&D theme and explore D&D maps and take a full adventure with it. So the first thing I decided was that, like most adventurers, when you go to explore something, you will start from the road. So I decided what would be right next to the road. Well, since I started this in October, I decided a graveyard would be right next to the road. And so I explored the graveyard. When I finished the graveyard, I decided that, well, next to a graveyard, of course, you're going to have the church. So I explored the church. And so this last time, I was in the last room of the church, and I had spun my Steampunk portal. This is what Steampunk Portal will look like when it is finished. Steampunk Portal was part of the 2025 sale by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the artwork is by L&L Studios. I don't have a picture of the last time you saw it, unfortunately, but it also doesn't have a whole lot of stitches into it currently. So it was practically a new start the last time you saw it. So here it is now. And so it has got 101 stitches in it, bringing it now to 253 stitches of 28,324, which is 0.9%. Those numbers are wrong. This is only off of the first pattern drop from 2025. I do have the full pattern drop. I just have to move it over to Pattern Keeper and then export and import progress so that way I can get the full amount. But I still haven't done that. But I did come over and bring this side and this side down, extending this channel. I so far have only been doing black stitching. The other colors are what's really, colorful and exciting about it. But so far the black has just been really fast and simple, easy stitching. So when I draw or spin my wheel to get a project, I have decided that going forward that I just have to get 100 stitches into it, and then it's up to me what I want to do. I can either continue on for that day if I'm having fun with it, or if I want to take the rest of the day and put some stitches into something else, I can. And so this was the first one I did that with. And so when I got to the 100 stitches on this one, I decided to stop. And I decided to pick up my oldest whip, which is Animal Crossing Stitch Long by Stuart Cunningham. This is what that will look like when it is finished. And again, unfortunately, I don't have a picture of where it was last. But I did come in here and add from this downwards, and then I took this one downwards and this one downwards, and so this is the bottom. And so I have taken one color, the 704, which is a main color, and have been color completing that and taking that along. I do want to go back up in here and start filling in some of the other colors and taking them down. But it was nice to get a bunch of progress in on this, especially since it's now my oldest whip, just to try and, move it along, especially since my numbers for this only count the frame, not any of the cards that go inside of it. So I put in 420 stitches into this, bringing it to 1,999 of 8,068, which is 24.7%. Like I said, that is only of the outer frame. And this is just on a simple 14 count blue Ada. So it was nice to get a bunch of stitching into that. Like I said, I picked it up the first day after doing Steampunk Portal, and then I just kind of picked it up a couple of days after that, just because I didn't have the energy to spin and do a new project. And at that point it was getting close to the end of the month anyway, so I just decided I would wait, let the end of the month go, and then start doing my draws for Darkthrone Keep again. I think I am going to now, at the start of the week, do 2 spins. So that way I at least have 2 of them that I have to do. So if I'm like, alright, there's 200 stitches on that, and then, you know, one day where I'm working on my nostalgic tarot frame, and then that leaves me a couple of days where I could either have fun or I can pick up something. And there are some more things that I will pick up going forward. At the moment, that's the end of my stitches. But like I said, we did finish the last of the church. So we are now going to descend into the catacombs. And I haven't decided how much out of this I'm going to explore. There is a very simple, easy path to just kind of jump in and then go up to the center, and then you have the exit. So maybe, you know, it'll be really fast, you know, explore 3 or 4 rooms and I'm out. Or if, you know, I'm having fun with the catacombs and I don't feel like I need to jump to a new section of the map yet, maybe I'll just keep exploring them. Or, you know, I can always go somewhere else and then come back later. But I decided that that is where we're going to go going forward. So now plans. So, so I do have day and night, which is what this one is, which is my whip go that for January that I haven't got to start yet. So once I finish Penance, I will be starting that one, and then Colorful Jungle Stroll, which was the other one for February. So I will finish that or start that one after I do day and night. And like I said, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself to get caught up. There was a lot of struggling to you know, get fabric, a lot of stuff going on. One of my main things of January was just giving myself grace, knowing that there was a lot going on, and just taking it easy on myself. So I'm not going to, you know, retroact that and throw pressure on myself now. So I'm just going to let that go and make sure I get caught up by the end of the year. And mainly I'm just going to be focused on the calls for March. So before we do that, I did finish the one for number 5, which was Acorns and Friends. So I am going to take my $5 and put that into my little box to show that I have completed that. And so then the whip go numbers that were called for March were number 4, which is the reader, and number 3, which is E is for elephant. Well, this is going to be fun. This will be my first elephant stitch, which is fun because I love elephants. I probably have close to 100 elephant statues in the house, close to probably 500 stuffed elephants, including 2 that are as big as a normal person. So I found it really funny when someone else pointed out, oh hey, you've got a lot of dragons that you are stitching, and I stopped and looked over all of my patterns and went, oh yeah, you're right, I do have a lot of dragons, and then realized, oh, I don't have any elephants. So that will be fun to have an elephant one started. So the reader is this little fun little book one. It has one side that says just one more page, and then the other side has this little comic with some tea and books. And so I think it's made to be made into a needle book to be like, you know, different sized needles. I don't know if I will do that, but I think I will probably still stitch both of the sides back to back and turn it into like a bookmark. I have to figure out what I'm going to put this one on, but I do have some 20 count country mocha where I put Acorns and Friends on that I think would do really well for this. So I will probably use that. I'll just kind of do a floss toss of the colors on it to make sure that they don't fade too much into it. If not, I might have to find a different fabric for it. Or maybe, you know, dye it like a light gray, try and mottle it. But that will be one. And then the other one is E is for elephant, which is this cute little elephant biscornu. No. So it does have two sides. One is the big elephant, and then the other is these little tiny elephants. At the time when I bought it, I was thinking that I wouldn't do the tiny elephants, and I just do two of the big elephant. But now I'm thinking I might do the tiny elephants, but the elephants have like the elephants and flowers, and then they have like a star and flowers. I don't know if I'm gonna do the little blue star. I guess we'll see how I feel once I get done with it. I may just end up deciding that I want to stitch the big elephant, and if I do stitch the big elephant on both sides rather than doing the little flowers or along the side, I'll see if I can't put the small elephants in a little line along the side. That might be fun. So both of these are smaller patterns, so I'll probably end up taking these to work on my lunch break. It's been nice to have something that I'm working on there, just that way I know that if I get home and I'm exhausted, I don't have to worry about, you know, dragging out a something to throw a few stitches in, just that way I have stitches that day. I have stitched every single day of February except for February the 1st, which was one that I missed on my last Flosstube. So for this Flosstube, I did stitch every single day, so I was really happy about that. I also did put in one day down at the library where I was working on my my book. I really wanted to get the chapter finished. Unfortunately, I did have to do a lot of going back and rereading and figuring out what my system that I had in place was, just to make sure I didn't create logic errors in there. So I managed to get all of that done and was able to start moving forward. I did get a page written. One thing that I would really like to see going forward with that is I would like to get an artist to actually do the little drawings for my cards. They're like a, I don't know, 2-inch by 3-inch little drawing. But unfortunately, in my area, every single person I know who is a good artist who I've approached to be like, hey, you know, would you be interested in this, has all, you know, said, you know, it's not for me, or I don't have the time. So I would like to find someone for that. Right now, I'm stuck with using AI, and I really hate that, which has really like put me off of like creating any new cards going forward, which I think I may at this point just like leave blank spots for the picture until I, find someone. So if, any of you are out there are a good artist, and, I'd be more than happy to pay like $20 a card, and then at the end of it, I will, I did find a spot that will print actual cards, so I will be making sets. So if, you are interested in drawing it, I will provide you with a set of the cards at the end. So if you're interested, let me know. Other than that, plans, I am going to get started with getting things ready for the retreat. So I have 3 people right now, well, 2 people who are going to the no, that's not right. 3 people who are going to the retreat, I think. I think it's 3 people who are going to the retreat. I think UpliftStitches is also going to the retreat. I'm not sure about her. But the other 2 people I know are definitely going to the retreat. So I am going to make portfolios for them. And one of them is Natasha, who runs a Discord channel called Wanderlust, which is a stitching game in itself, which I am finally getting ready to get caught back up on and get going. But she has been a really fun and encouraging person, and she's left me a couple of nice little messages on my last video and informed me that she will be at the retreat. So I am really stoked to make something for her and give it to her in person. And I just so happened the other day found a pack of discounted fabric with maps and planes and things, which I thought would go really cool with her Wanderlust, which is all about stitching in different countries and earning passports, stamps as you complete the countries and the continents, as you complete the continents. So I thought that would be really cool to make for her. So she is one of the people on my list. One of the others is Joshua Carstridge in Cambria. I found some really cool fabric on Etsy that I got for his, and then like I said, I'm going to check to see if UpliftStitches is going, and if so, I'll make one for her. And then I am going to make one for Megan MJ Stitches 23 here on Flosstube. During her latest one, she was talking about her pregnancy journey and some of the challenges she's going through, and I just kind of want to make something to make her smile, so I am going to knock out one for her as well. But that one I'm just going to send straight to her. I don't think she's going to the retreat. So I'll have 2 to take to the retreat, and then I'm going to make like 6 or 7 or 8 project, 6 or 7, because I'll be there. At the retreat, the tables are 7 or 8 people, so I'm going to make 6 or 7 project bags to give out as table gifts, and then I will have the portfolios to give out to the people I know. So like I said on the last one, if you happen to be going to the Children of the Thread retreat in April, and you happen to watch me, and you would like to get a portfolio or a project bag, feel free to reach out and let me know. Know that I am a new stitcher, so don't expect crafty Emily's quality, or one of those really expert level stitchers. But feel free to reach out, let me know a color or a theme that you really like, and I would be more than happy to bring something to you. I think that will... Oh, other than that, my plans going forward in March. Jason from Jason X Stitches and Michael from UpliftStitches are doing a Leap into Spring sale, which will start on March 20th, which I will be doing. I have a nice little small Lucky Frog pattern picked out that I shall be doing. And then it doesn't come up in March, but it will come up in spring. Lola Crow Studio just announced her 2026 sale, which is going to be Night at the Museum themed, I think. And I am definitely going to be stitching that one. One of the things that was on the teaser photo is a mammoth, which I just found amazing, so I am going to do that. She says that she's going to put pre-orders up in March, and then it will drop around April, probably right before I head to the retreat, which will be fun because then I can probably kit it up and start it at the retreat if I don't start it beforehand. So I will be doing that, and other than that, I will just keep moving forward with putting stitches into my tarot card frame to get that one ready for the retreat, doing Dark Thorn Keep, putting stitches into Wanderlust so that way I can complete New Zealand, which is my first country that I've been working on. I am about halfway finished with it, and then working on my whip goes so I can finish out those new starts, get them to the 500, and knock those out. I am hoping that I can at least complete both of the ones for March and knock off another one, so then I will only be at one behind, and then one thing that I'm definitely going to do is get the rest of my stitches in for my birthday start. But that has been me jabbering on for over an hour, so I will let you all go. As always, feel free to ask me any questions in the comment. Let me know how you're doing, and like I said, if you are going to the retreat in April, let me know. I'm getting very, very excited about it. It will be my first in-person retreat, and I'm just looking forward to it. I will see you all in 2 weeks, and probably I'm going to stick to the Saturday rotation. It just seems to work better than the Friday that I had originally done.